Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ark of Osiris League. Today, we have a crazy arc lined up. This is a crazy arc lined up for you guys. It is none other than my alliance, High, one of the biggest alliances in the game, Kingdom 58, going up against none other than the Phoenix Rising Alliance from Kingdom 16. That is right, we're going up against Dragothian, we're going up against Ronnie's Alliance, 1.86 billion power versus 1.37. Let me go ahead and post this stream around. So very quickly gonna put this message out here. Dragothian just replied, good luck, my man. I hope you guys have a good arc. This is gonna be a very fun time. Let me go ahead and post this here as well, and let me go ahead and post this here as well. Bam, perfect and perfect. I got tagged on Twitter for something. I don't even know what the heck. Anyway, Kingdom 16 is coming up again. What's up, Alon? Makoachi? Terry, how you doing, man? A beer. Welcome everybody to the stream. This is gonna be a big one. This is gonna be a big fight. We're gonna stop the music when the arc starts. And actually, because I haven't done this in so long, I managed to forget something. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide the screen very quickly. I know you guys aren't seeing anything, but we need our drawing tool on the screen as well, in case, you know, we gotta draw, because drawing is cool. So let me go ahead and open that up, and bam, you guys are back on the screen. Whose side am I on? I'm on the side of my alliance, of course. This is my home alliance, Kingdom 58. Big shout out to them. I'm on our side, obviously. And it should be a fun Ark of Osiris, to say the least. It should be a very fun arc, for sure. Now, I don't see... Is Dragothian streaming? I hope he is. Let's see. Ba-bam. I don't see Dragothian streaming this, or Ronnie, which is going to be a lot of fun. Kingdom 16... Hey, Terry, if you're from Kingdom 16, give a big shout out to your kingdom, my man. You guys killing it. It's time to get things done. Alon, you're doing the LG1 thing, I'm assuming. Good luck with that. I wasn't signed up for it, and I don't sign the forms. But anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not doing any arcs this weekend, just casting High, and tomorrow we have a crazy cast coming for you guys. None other than White Tigers against JWM. In case you guys haven't seen that matchup is absolutely bonkers. That matchup is gonna be insane. Okay, that matchup is really gonna be something else. We are talking, let me see if I can show you guys the matchup, as it was all over the news feeds. Let's go look. So High currently only lost to JWM our last arc, which was a rough one considering the amounts of tier 5s they had against us. But yeah, let me see if I can find really quickly the big boys tomorrow. The funny thing is, tomorrow the differences in power are not that big. We're not talking about huge differences when we're talking about the overall scheme of how the game works. Let me go ahead and move that to that monitor and do this, and then I can definitely show you guys the matchup. Bam. We are talking 1.618 versus 1.846 billion power. This is like 3.5 billion power almost among the two alliances. How crazy is that? That's going to be a crazy cast. I'm hoping to cast from the White Tigers perspective. I know Chiskel is going to be streaming for JWM. And also, considering that JWM are going to go up against us in high, I would assume they don't want me anywhere near their alliance, knowing what they do and things like that. So I respect that a lot. It's a competition after all. Hopefully White Tigers will let me in and I'll be able to stream from their point of view this crazy, crazy Ark of Osiris that's coming up tomorrow. Oh, I heard something. What did I hear? JWM is your in your kingdom. Yep, JWM is in Kingdom 59, my man. Hope they do ladders for Ark of Osiris in the future. Abir, I can tell you right now, for 100% of a fact, that they're doing it. It's gonna come sooner rather than later. We still love you, Gecko. Hey, no hard feelings at all, my man. It's a competition. Ivy, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Arkle? How you doing, man? I didn't see that you messaged earlier. I see the hello now. Sometimes when a lot of messages come in, I mess up a few of them. Nathan Armstrong said, "What's up?" too a little while back. What's up, my man? Jas, I'm sure I've nothing but love for JWM. JWM have always been kind to me, so I have nothing but respect, and I really like Blackfeather, and I like what you guys do. So hey, good luck. I hope in Lost Kingdom we'll have a lot of good content, because I am not only going to be making content about High, but I'm also going to be making content about JWM, as I mean we're all in the same Lost Kingdom, right? Nikki, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, sorry about that, Arco. How close am I to tier 5s? On the big account, I am pretty far still. I think I have like a total of something like 100 researches, but a lot of them are like small, fast, quick economic researches. I am plowing through researches during Mightiest Governor. I'm prioritizing building right now because I'm very close to Academy 25, with the exception of my watchtower and castle that are going to be super hard. The rest is just unlock the resources and get it done. So hopefully we unlock Saladin this coming weekend, Mightiest Governor, and finish a lot of level 25 buildings. Do a little bit of researches, push forward a little bit more. But when it comes to tier 5s, it's just going to get to a point where whenever a 15% rune will pop with the right kingdom buff and titles, I might just push like 20-30 researches in one time, just like the economic ones. Just finish a bunch of them all the way to the end, and then go for back to the offensive side of them. Because honestly, the big issues are not the amounts I'm away from. It's the researches, the last few researches of the military ones. So everything levels 9 and 10. There is the 3 researches before tier 4s, and then there is 2 researches per tier 5. So let's pretend only 1 tier 5. So that's 5, right? 5 or like 11 for completion. And then you have 2 others that you got to max out. So that's 13. And then the tier 5 ones. So like 13 are insanely, ridiculously crazy hard. And the economic ones are like dirt cheap. I couldn't care for the economics at the time. Ali, you're maxed out? Nice. Good job. All right, 25 seconds from Ark opening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are changing to casting mode. That means a little bit less focus on chat and more on the game itself. But leave messages in chat. Talk to me, guys. We're going to turn off the music. Let me know what's going on. This was a hard choice. Chiskel or Gecko stream. Oh, so Chiskel is streaming this too? I was checking if anyone is streaming as well. I didn't see he was, and looks like he is. Nice. Legion. Oh, well, that's their kingdom. That makes a lot more sense. 1.47 billion. Woo-wee. That answers where a ton of the people have gone to watch Chiskel, which makes sense. 1.47, that's nuts. Legions. All right, so we are in the Ark of Osiris. They haven't changed the view just yet. I like the fact that you can occupation score, number of occupants. Ooh, they changed the view a little bit. This is kind of cool. So can I go like Wait, is this just a legend to tell me which building is what? I guess so. You can't really see anything yet. We'll see how else they changed the view from the last time. Are you fighting Chiskel? No, we're not. I don't know who Chiskel's fighting. But we are fighting none other than PHR. We're talking Big Rick, 82 billion power. Big shout out to Dragothian, another content creator. If you guys haven't seen his channel, Google or YouTube Dragothian, just like this. Go hit a sub, tell him I sent you, say hi to him. Very, very cool guy, super strong player, very savvy. I like him a lot. I see only 2 tier 5s, if I'm not mistaken, out of all of their players. Yes, so Big Rick and Dragothian are the tier 5s. Are there more in the back? Maybe as a lower... Yes, we see Sir Jazz, who is 59 billion power. So this goes based on ranks. So that's number 3. Let's see who else we have. Let's see, 30 billion powers. Lots of 30 billions, 20s, millions, I mean, sorry, not billions. We have Aaron porting up right here, 97 million power player. Nice. So I counted 4, maybe 5... potentially 6 tier 5s, something like that, coming into the field. This is potentially number 7. I mean, we are fielding some of our bigger players. We're talking, we're talking Shin with 82 billion power, Ayla with tier 5s. We are talking about Turin, who's almost there, Nazgul 66, AZN with 62, Premise with tier 5s. We got tier 5s all over this place. Tom Kent, Zool, Nox is almost there. So many big players. Camel, tier 5s all over the field. I don't really know how many of these guys. I mean, we can count them very briefly with 20 seconds. I know 1, he doesn't have them. 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember if Premise has it or not. 5, 8 is close as well. 6. Oh, Sandi's here. 7, 8. He just popped 100. Nox, I'm not entirely sure. Camel is 9. So I see 9 tier 5s right now on our end. We are talking 26 versus 26 right now. So there's still room for 4 more players to come in. And as usual, the beginning of an arc is kind of like everything is the same, right? You have your outposts, which are closer, your obelisks, which you need to be aiming for ASAP. And then you have all the other different like movements you do early on. So the first thing on an Ark of Osiris that we come to get used to really is the fact that what people usually do is you head for the first area that's being unlocked in the first stage of Ark of Osiris, and then from there you have the second layer, which is this layer right here, number 2, and the same can be said about the other side where the layers are 1 and then you have this and this as 2. So usually people take control over their first layer first and then start heading closer as the second layer only opens up a few minutes later. But some of the strategies have been as of late to also send troops towards your enemy's closer side, second side. That way you can test for altars faster to get points faster overall. What we're seeing right now is that we're pretty much at a standstill where the guys in red, which are high, managed to catch the first outpost a little bit faster, just about 10 seconds faster than Phoenix Rising. I gotta call them PHR. So high against PHR. High already has its second outpost. I don't see, and a third, and an obelisk too. I don't see PHR moving as aggressively towards their initial target. So they're still a little ways away from their first obelisk. They're now starting to catch up things. So I see they caught this obelisk first, but they are really taking their while trying to hit like enemy targets already. Who is this marching? Someone sent already a march across the map. 2 marches across the map coming in. We see Garrett slowly like picking up the building and moving forward. Very cool, fast forward motion by both teams. It's going to be interesting to see who heads where. Obviously, to get here will take some time. The outpost will most likely be captured and tick for points for high before any of these marches arrive. But we already have Garnet, the War Dog, kind of like very, very close to the center, contesting for this Ark. We've seen the Ark being very influential in games in the past. We've seen matches being won based on the Ark, so don't sleep on your Ark. We're still on a 26 versus 26 standstill. So far, it doesn't seem like any action happening on either side. We are waiting for the first few buildings to lock up and points to start. What's up, Alex? As I mentioned, as I'm casting, I will most likely be paying less attention to chat, but it doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't be talking there with each other, asking questions. If I can answer things as the cast goes, I will. If things become very one-sided at some point, I'll turn my attention towards the chat a little more. But for now, sit back, enjoy the cast, leave me comments. I'll make sure. What's their power requirement for your alliance in Kingdom 58? I'm not entirely sure anymore. You need to ask one of our leaders. I have no clue. I know the Kingdom 196 is 15 million, but I don't know what high are aiming for right now, as we have huge players coming into the game. So Turin is posturing forward, which is something I really like that PHR did. PHR already have tier 5s in here. Twizzy right here as well. Sir Jazz sending tier 5s. We have tier 4s. We have a lot of marches marching towards the Ark of Osiris when only Turin is marching his butt towards the Ark. So the points started ticking. I see Turin and Shingen walking their way. Shin rocking them tier 5s. Turin rocking every possible combination. His Saladin is on the battlefield, hopefully. So here's the deal. We have one building already ticking for points for the red team. One building ticking for the blue team. The red team has about a 9-ish points advantage over the blue team. Every building that's first occupied is getting boatload of points. Guys, getting first occupations on altars and shrines of wars is also very important. So yeah, Saya Nox doesn't have tier 5s, I think. So that's something. And you forgot, oh, you have Camel in there. Wait, High has Saladin? Yes, High does have Saladin. We had Saladin in a Ark of Osiris a little while ago. I don't see if Turin placed him as first, but he definitely has a Saladin hidden somewhere in here. One of these guys must have him on primary, and if not on primary, he's definitely secondary somewhere in here. Definitely secondary. Kingdom 58 has Saladin next, Ark of Osiris, next Midas Governor as well. The last one and the next one as well. It's gonna be crazy. I will be unlocking it next Midas Governor. The first fight is happening. The blue team is posturing forward towards the Temple of Osiris. Something is fighting the top blue obelisk. There is Tom Kent trying his best to sneak an attack and take away this obelisk from the blue team. It seems like this sneak attack will be unsuccessful as they claim the obelisk's ports are starting to pour in. The blue team is porting in towards the top obelisk. The red team right now locking in the bottom. So far, map distribution is just as we thought. An even map distribution where it looks like the second layer was contested a little bit faster by the blue team, but nothing very serious. The difference in points that you guys are seeing is just the minor numbers in between, like all these buildings locking up. There is a small gap. It's only 30 points. It's not that big of a deal. Now we're going to wait for the next few buildings to lock up and wait for a little bit more action on the battlefield. Let's go look if the Ark is being fought. And there is fights happening on the battlefield already. Zul Dark going ham in here with Turin and Shingen, and they're pretty much isolating, just like they have to be doing, isolating one march at a time. All these marches will be potentially useless when 4 or 5 marches are going straight into Garrett, and Garrett can't do anything about it. We see a YSG on the field. We see a Pelagius on the field as well. Lots and lots of battlefields, just open field combat happening 5 minutes before the Ark itself opens. We have a first building being contested. Naz is going ham. Naz and PC snuck their way to the desert altar. There are troops here ready to reinforce this desert altar, which is a little bit of a shame. I don't see a rally being sent. These are all solo marches trying to sneak out this desert altar, but Phoenix Rising are smarter than that. They know they need to just defend the building, and that is that. This march is just trying to chunk out Nazgul's tier 5s a little bit. Nothing very serious. He's going to get severely punished as well. And as these troops back off, they're just going to run away back home. This sneak attack was unsuccessful, unfortunately. What we want to see is rallies and reinforcements rather than what we're seeing right now. Now, Zuldark coming in ham. At the end, sneaking in more of his tier 5s. This is a lot of tier 5s coming into the battlefield. You can see Zul's already fighting on the battlefield as well. The certain victory here so far seems to go to the red team, who have completely taken over the area of the Temple of Osiris, which was first contested primarily by the blue team. Now, the mistakes here are that there are engagements where the blue team had a few isolated troops like this one right here. And if the red team focuses up on these guys rather than on the guys fighting together, they're easier to pick. And that's how a couple marches got picked very early on. And with that happening, there are more red marches on the battlefield, as you can see right now, than blue marches. And on top of that, I don't see any YSG to enjoy the AoE damage on all these marches. Therefore, the blue team had to back off the Temple of Osiris 3 minutes before the Temple of Osiris opens up and the first arc is carried. Now, what should be done in these cases? You should be posturing forward, but you should not be contesting any fights until the arc comes out, and you can very, very easily just get rid of the arc altogether if you just wait for the other team to pick it up and then zoom into the march that is carrying the arc. That's how you clean that area. You got to clear off the area first before taking the arc. And if it's a posturing thing, then you just let the other team picking up the arc doesn't mean they get points. It just means that they picked up the arc. As long as they don't return it, it doesn't mean anything. And therefore, you guys can actually get it. Dragothian, we're watching Dragothian sneak the Shrine of Life out of High. This is a blow to High for sure. This is a big blow to High, as the Shrine of Life, one of the most important buildings, is pretty much being taken away, and the points per minute that the red team is losing in here can hurt them in the future. Shin Inc. and Premise here probably going to try to take back this Shrine of Life away from Dragothian. While that's happening, there is a fight going on here in the altar, Sky Altar. Premise is doing his best to fight the Sky Altar. There are too many troops waiting out here. At this point, all this is chunking troops away. They should be focusing more on getting their Shrine of Life back, because every moment that passes, a full minute worth of points, which is 80 points, have gone out the window for the red team, which allows the blue team to slowly and steadily start closing the gaps. The idea in the Ark of Osiris is just like right now, the blue team is making 80 more points per minute than the red team. At this stage, they're slowly closing the gap with every minute that passes, and very soon they'll be able to even pass the red team altogether if they don't control the situation. Now, 2 altars are being contested. This red altar is being swarmed by a lot of blue marches. Ayla is out here trying to do it battle. I see Nox out here doing it battle as well. I don't see is this a rally that's attacking? I see everybody hitting solo marches all over the place. And while I can appreciate the fact that there's a lot of big players, solo marches are a very big problem. We're seeing the blue team posturing forward like crazy. Aaron sending here an insane rally for the obelisk, but he's being surrounded by marches, and on top of that, the obelisk seems to be holding strong. These marches are all getting chunked for free. The attack that he's hitting is the same exact attack, but all these guys that are hitting around him are getting counterattack just as much. All these troops are paying the price of sitting around and trying to stop Aaron instead of being inside the obelisk. While we say that, the blue team is taking on the Sky Altar head on. There is another rally. Big Rick rallied a huge amount of players in here. I don't know if the Sky Altar will hold. I'm seeing three things being contested right now from away from the red team. The blue team posturing for buildings. They're doing what they need to be doing, spreading around and creating chaos. Now, Hai can still recover. This is just the beginning, and they are definitely going to be picking up this Ark of Osiris, and from there carrying it on to ensure they get the full points out of an Ark that they can get, unless, you know, Turin decides to sleep on it. I don't know what they're waiting for. It looks like the obelisk is successfully defended. Now we got to go make sure that the altar is being taken care of. The Shrine of Life has been occupied officially by the blue team, which means points, lots of blue marches around the Sky Altar, but the Sky Altar is holding strong. Big Rick is losing his troops. All these guys are taking an insane amount of damage from the building, and it looks like the building is safely secured. All that needs to happen now is some red marches need to come into the Sky Altar to keep reinforcing it. Blue team has taken the lead by only having this building for long enough to make it take points for them. At this stage, they are a lot of points ahead. They have also taken an altar away from the red team, which is very bad news for Hai. Hai are now in a high intense situation where the Shrine of Life is being contested back and will most likely be taken back for the red team, which is good news for healing. At this point, the blue team, who have 2 Shrines of Life, should be doing most of their healing. This is another 25% for free. This is 2 healing speed buffs for in their favor for another few moments, and then from there, they need to go back into doing what they're doing now, which is just putting pressure all over the map. Now, this single pressure put on this altar will not help the red team's case, as there are plenty of blue marches around and in this building. What scares me the most, and should scare the red team a lot, and they have put attention into it, is the Sky Altar. The Sky Altar seems to still be taking damage, but Sondi, with a few marches, managed to hold off all these blue marches. We're going to need more red players in the Sky Altar, or else there's a good chance this Sky Altar will be taken out too. While we say all that, Turin and Shin are walking this Ark of Osiris back. The first 3,000 points. It's going to give the red team an advantage again. Any Genjis there? I don't know if Genjis were usable in Ark of Osiris, because they're only usable in 120 plus days. That's a really good question if there are Genjis. I don't see Genjis as primaries, but there could be secondaries. Now, the red team postured a bit too further forward. They still have a decent amount of marches up here compared to the blue team, but there's no need to lose unnecessary troops and positioning, which they have right now in here, when the Ark is already in their favor. Now, as all this goes on, the blue team has 3 altars, and this third altar is about to close into their favor, and when it does, it's going to be giving them a substantial amount of points ahead of the blue team, of the red team. We're talking pretty much double the points. So at this point, the real question is, the Ark will give the red team a little bit of a break in terms of keeping their momentum. It looks like the Sky Altar refilled a little bit. There were a little bit more troops coming in here. Blue team is sneaking a couple of messages out. PC doing what he needs to do, forgetting about the field of combat happening here, going straight to the Sky Altar, making sure to secure the Sky Altar. That's their number 1 priority right now, as they fight. The bottom team has to fight a tough situation in the Desert Altar. Now, the problem here is the red team keeps coming into this Desert Altar slow and steady, 1 by 1, 2 at a time, something like that, while the blue team have a boatload of players in here and marches consistently passing by, which means it's going to be a really tough take. But the red team seems to slowly be taking control of the situation in this Desert Altar. There's still fights happening in the Sky Altar on the other side of the map, but there are plenty of red marches in here who can easily come in and secure this Sky Altar. So hopefully this Sky Altar will stay within the red team. Red team capturing the Ark of Osiris, taking 2,000 point lead right there. It is going to be enough to hold the blue team a little bit for a little while. There's about less than 10 minutes. Right now, we're seeing somewhat of like, what, 300 and... What would this be? It's like 320? 420. No, 380, sorry, points ahead of the red team. So that will give them about 6 or 7 minutes worth of a lead in which they can start making sure the blue team makes less points. The blue team, posturing forward, sent Dragothian with a rally to the bottom obelisk. Shin Inc. instantly ported in here, and I'm assuming he's going to start pushing marches into this obelisk to ensure the obelisk stays safe. I mean, one person can pull in and out their troops to make sure that this obelisk stays alive. Whew. Oh, what's going on here? Xeon and Shin just doing massive work to just hold on to this obelisk. The sky altar, the desert altar at the bottom is still being contested by the red team, but it seems like they're slowly stabilizing around here, chewing down into this desert altar slowly and steadily. Sky altar is still being fought. Big Rick is still with his last march here, but it looks like the red team will finally take full advantage of their sky altar, and now it's time for them to fill it back up, guys. There is probably another rally on its way. There's more marches marching their way down here. Look at this. Don't sleep on the altars. The altar finally, desert altar finally taken away from the blue team, cutting off 150 points per minute. We are back to smaller lead for the blue team, but that's for another 2 minutes, and then the desert altar will put things even, making sure that right now it'll be a game of who takes the next building. The bottom obelisk is still being contested. There's a serious threat here to the bottom obelisk. This bottom obelisk, AZN rushing his troops to try to get, I don't know if he's going to try to get in, what these guys are trying to do, but they need to put troops in this obelisk before it's too late. Come on, don't stop, AZN. And they lose the obelisk. This is a devastating blow. Losing this obelisk can be a huge blow for the red team. Right now, they're focused on the one march instead of on the obelisk, which they need to get control back of. But because a rally won this obelisk, there is a huge amount of troops in there, and it's going to make it so much tougher for these guys to single-handedly take over this obelisk. Oy, this could end up really bad for the red team. Blue team is doing a fantastic job at putting pressure at different points of the map and just keeping Aaron with another rally right here, keeping the red team constantly chasing after them. The whole point here is if you time everything nicely, you can start hitting 2 or 3 things across the map at the same time, and the red team or any other team will start going, okay, we gotta go with this, we gotta do that. Wait, we're attacking here, but that's going there. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with this obelisk. There is potentially a rally being set. If this obelisk is not going to be contested, people are going to port to here, and things are going to start getting a lot crazier for the red team. As once there is blue marches coming out from here, these 2 buildings right here will be very, very weak. So right now, there is a little bit of a fight going on. Aaron doing everything he can to take out this Shrine of War, and he's doing a fantastic job at it. As a matter of fact, if PC decides to go after the rally rather than get into the shrine, the most likely outcome will be the same thing that happened with the obelisk. People are gonna focus on the wrong building. Premise launching a rally trying to take back this obelisk. This rally is gonna be very, very important. If they manage to take away this obelisk in the next minute or so, then everything stabilizes a little bit. But if a blue team can sneak a couple of cities to this side, take some ports to their favor, this is going to be very, very, very rough. You guys can see right now, it's a pretty decent rally with a lot. Let's see what's in here. It should be a nice 800,000, more marches all over the place. And it's doing almost nothing to this obelisk. This obelisk is super secured. While the Shrine of War, it will most likely fall towards the blue team in a moment. Red team sending more and more marches in here. That's their number 1 priority. Send marches in. Premise is also busy while rallying for obelisk, trying to keep this side alive as Pit Boss is rallying the Shrine of Life. Guys, it's all about the rallies. If you keep setting rallies consistently over and over, everything works better. Ivy, what do you want to see? Show us Ark team? What do you mean show us Ark team? Which teams are fighting? Or what's the question? So the obelisk is protected. There are potential blue ports coming in. 5 more ports for the blue team as a reward for taking this obelisk. I wonder if they'll be big ballsy enough to port in here and start protecting this and try to do something in here, or they're aware of the fact that there are tier 5s on this side and they don't want to potentially lose castles, send castles back home for that kind of a forward posture, especially when they have so many troops fighting for the Shrine of Life. This is looking really rough for the red team. The red team is going to have to figure out what to do. Show us the situation in the middle of the Ark. Oh, I don't think things are happening here yet. I think that as a result of the red team scrambling to try to hold on to everything, they pretty much gave up on the Ark, as you guys can see. What the blue team is doing is the correct move. They are, first of all, sending rally after rally after rally after rally after rally after rally to every building possible. They've rallied every tier 2, we'll call it, building, meaning they've rallied so far. They've rallied these 3. Oh, you guys can't see that. Let me switch it to blue because they are the blue team, right? They've rallied, technical difficulties. They've rallied these 3 buildings. They've rallied these 3 buildings. Now, when they did that, what ended up happening is the red team started scrambling. The red team, who had a lot of posturing towards this area, started sending people away to here, to here, to here. We saw Turin fighting in here when he is clearly someone who is in the middle for the Ark. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one because they're being literally dumbed down all over the place. They're being scattered all over the place. And that's how you win an Ark of Osiris, ladies and gentlemen. You guys want to win your Ark of Osiris, you guys have to keep sending 4 rally leaders, 4 rallies, 1-minute rallies at all time. One of your fellas rally marches goes into the rallies. Stay around your guys. Send those moving. That's 1 march out of a bunch of people just going straight. Let it go. Focus on something else. At this point, the blue team has the Ark of Osiris more than secured. But the fact that they have troops in here doesn't mean anything. The fact that they have troops in here is a huge blow, because now they're gatekeeping these guys away from the Ark zone. Now, what I would do if I was in this situation is you got to start walking backwards. So as you're going to go through the outside area, hoping you can get close, look at this. Just as I mentioned, Dragothian is in charge of the desert altar. Dragothian sends 1 march with a bunch of other people whose job is to send 1 march into this rally, into this building consistently. That's how you win an Ark of Osiris. They are sending solo marches in groups of 5 to 6 to just solo hit buildings that are not 100% reinforced. I mean, the red team had only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marches in this building, which means a total of potentially only 1.2 million power fighters in there, and not even that. While this is happening, blue team is just going crazy against the desert altar. Now, Ayla is doing what Ayla should have been doing all this time. Rallying. A rally coming into the Shrine of War will definitely divert some attention from the blue team. When the blue team or the red team or any team can focus on their game more than react to your game, then it's how you win a game. Now, the red team is still ahead, but now that the Ark is going to be delivered to the blue team, this next Ark could mean absolutely anything. There's 30 minutes left, which means there's going to be at least 1 more Ark of Osiris being returned. I believe the next Ark will pretty much decide who wins. It will decide who wins, as I think it's 5,500 points for the second Ark, if I'm not mistaken. It's 55 and then 7,500, I think, something like that. So this Ark, you see Nox doing what Nox needs to be doing. Nox just snuck. Nox, my man, just snuck 1 march onto this marching Ark. Look at the damage. Look at the chunking. This guy is going to lose troops so quickly. Slow down the Ark from coming back. Even if he picks it up and moves it a little bit to backwards, that's a huge success for the red team. The red team posturing forward picked up an altar, a desert altar for free from the red team and the Shrine of War. Red team pushing in. You guys thought this 3,500, thank you. I remembered it was something like that. That's the second one, 3,500. I think the third one is 55. Second one is 35. Nox picking up the Ark, not going to even mess with it. He's just going to bail, and he's just going to hope Peace Frog decides to go out instead, turns and goes for Peace Frog. That works too. If you ask me, he should have backed off, waited for Peace Frog to try to pick up the Ark, and then pushed into him. But we can't complain. Red team doing exactly what they need to do. Red team are pushing some pressure on the blue team. The blue team is still contesting for this desert altar, which could at this point may as well just fall. There's still fighting happening here, and there's still marches coming in to defend the desert altar a little further. This can still end bad. Dragothian's rally is pretty slow. More blue marches coming in, but as long as this stays within the red team, Shin bringing more marches in, as long as this stays with the red team for as long as it has been, then there is absolutely no way that the blue team will make points out of this. Shin sending more infantry in here. Blue team capturing the Ark of Osiris once again. Nox trying to sneak again into Cuba J. Can he get a little bit of damage? Any damage onto Cuba right now is blessed. There we go. He did exactly what he needs to do. Just smack into Cuba as much as possible. Look at that health bar going down so badly against such small 40,000 troops. Look at how much damage 40,000 troops did to Cuba J's march. This is exactly what Nox was here to do. He was here to slow down this Ark from coming in. While he did that, so many people kept their eyes on this march and on this Ark instead of paying attention to the altars 1 minute away from ticking points for the red team. This desert altar is still being fought for, but the rally just broke. Red team, go high, holding strong. I'm usually not trying to take sides, and I do love Dragothian and Big Rick for what they do. They have a sick alliance, they have great members, and they have great integrity in them. They know how to fight. But again, these guys are my boys. High is my alliance, and I'm happy to see them recover. Even though they're behind right now. They are definitely behind. Sandi picks up a rally against Aaron on the Sky Altar. Very interesting. We have not seen our rallies on rallies that much in the Ark of Osiris. Is Nox not tier 5? I'm not entirely sure he is. That damage is from the debuffs from the Ark of Osiris. Remember, you take double the damage when you're picking up the Ark of Osiris. Now, this Sky Altar got a little more troops in it, and Sandi hitting Aaron's rally. This is rally on rally. This is gonna be a definite defense here for the red team on their altar. And they're trying to hold on for dear life against Big Rick and a bunch of marches coming in. This desert altar started taking points for the red team as well. We are seeing right now that with the exception of one building that the red team is waiting for, the red team solidly lead once again in terms of points per minute. Now things have shifted to 2,100 points towards the blue team in advantage. That gives about 7 minutes for the red team to catch up at this stage. This is 7 minutes where the blue team's job is to make sure any of these buildings that are taking points for the red teams go away. Yeah, Krishna, that's exactly right. So, I lost my train of thought there for a moment. There is a Shrine of War being fought by Dragothian. This is a small rally going in for the Shrine of War. It looks like it's going to be fairly successful at taking it back, but the Shrine of War has already given fruit. It's already ticking points. There is a huge gap, over 400 points, 460 points in between these two teams. And even though this Shrine of War will go away from the red team, it won't tick for the blue team for another 3 minutes. So just all the damage that's being done here is fantastic. The only altar, the Sky Altar that the blue team is holding right now is being contested by Premise with a solo march. Now, it looks like Premise is doing a substantial amount of damage too. It looks like Premise might be able to sneak this away from the blue team. If these marches manage to make it before Xylus makes it in, if this altar falls, that's 150 points per minute less that the blue team is going to be getting. This is going to be close. I think Xylus is going to make his way in, which is going to pump up the occupancy of this Sky Altar, but it's not that much. Premise is still holding strong. This is the only building being contested right now. as the points kind of even up as the blue team pick up the desert altar back in their favor, which is the closest one to one of their obelisks. And obviously it has Aaron in here, a very strong player, and Big Rick. Shout out to Big Rick, new king of Kingdom 16, doing big work out there from what I hear. Is Zul'Dark disconnected? I haven't seen him since the start. That is a great question. I haven't seen Zul on the map either. Where is Zul? Maybe something happened with Zul. I see Turin back here. Shingen is still back here. Here's Zul marching. So maybe we just haven't been focusing on what Zul has been doing. So at this stage, it's a little bit too late, unfortunately, for the red team when it comes to this altar. The blue team is already sending Peace Frog and a bunch of other guys, very much focusing on holding strong for this sky altar. Unfortunately, this attack failed. This could have been a great hit for the blue team for the red team on the blue team, points wise, but now the map is split even again. Premise is sending his troops kind of further up. He's trying to sandwich this thing. They're still pushing troops for this sky altar. There's a lot of presence from the blue team in the sky altar. Not a good idea to be just losing troops like this. But these are all infantries, and they're fighting against some of the cavalries on the battlefield, and they're doing massive damage to the cavalries. So, hey, as long as it's a mutual destruction thing, one march against 3, and so far he's handling it very well considering the damage has been done. This might be worth it as in full infantry versus cavalries. You can see the blue team is already backing out of this fight. Blue marches walking out of the sky altar always scares me because it means that any sneak attack on this might end up really bad. The points differential right now is 230 points for the red team, so they're still closing the gap. It's about 1,200 points ahead for the blue team. The Ark of Osiris is going to mean almost everything. 3 minutes before it opens up, there's big battlefield fights. We were talking about Zul, where here's Zul, here's Turin with a nice YSG at the front field. Look at all these YSGs right here. At this point, all these marches need to fall back, need to make sure they are present, because right now Zul's running back to his city with one march. It'll take him too long to arrive back here. The blue team is showing more presence than the past. So really, it is very important for the red team to posture forward with more marches, which are coming in, and not lose them before the arc comes in. This arc is going to be worth, I think, 5,500 points. This will pretty much almost seal the arc unless something crazy happens. So why use Lohar as a primary against Sky Altar? There's a lot of Lohar solos there. I think that people are using Lohar for healing primarily. A lot of people have been trying to figure out how to keep their troops alive a little longer. So having Lohar as primary seems like primarily a thing of healing. Not everyone's doing it. You can see even a player like Zul'Dark, who is a 100 million player, has Pelagius at the front of a cavalry march right here. Now, these guys are losing troops. Our marches right here, Shingen and AZN, should be falling back. Don't get caught by this big sandwich. Don't lose your troops. Keep yourselves ahead of the arc and make a nice blockade, but don't lose the control of the area. And what I do, by the way, is I bring tier 1s. What's up, Misfits Lion King? How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. What I usually do is I capture the Ark of Osiris with one tier 1. Why? Because you most likely never get hit if you're in a situation like this where your alliance dominates everything. And believe it or not, that one tier 1 makes a lot of work. It's caught a lot of arcs for me. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The blue team starts posturing forward. There's no fights in buildings that we're seeing. Everything is closing down to here. I'm seeing a substantial amount of blue marches. Dragothian shifting his attention from the bottom side to the center. Aaron shifting his attention from the top to the center. A sneak attack taking away the Shrine of War away from the red team. Really bad news, but at this stage, all these marches should really be focusing on helping their teammates get the Ark of Osiris. This arc will determine everything. Ayla's already determined to pick up this arc no matter what. You have Garnet Wardog trying to sneak in here. Guys, I see a lot of red marches falling back, getting hit. A lot of presence from the blue team. The red team really need to start posturing this way. The arc is worth 4.5. I thought it was 15, right? So it should be 3, then 6.5. and then technically 7.5. It used to be 15,000 if you picked up 3. So I think it's 5,500, if not 7,500, honestly. All these fights right now are just keeping the blue team further back. But I don't see any red marches close enough to pick up this Ark without having to fall back. Zul'Dark, it looks like I lagged for a little bit, and Zul'Dark just popped in here. 310,000 infantries, tier 5 infantries. And if he's planning to walk back with infantries, oh, this is going to suck. There are so many blue marches in here. This is unbelievable. And the network, that's exactly what we saw happening, right? Things just went poof. Well, there you go. Here's your answer. Bam, we are back. How much did we miss? The Ark just popped. People are trying to get this Ark, but there are so many blue marches. I'm seeing so many blue marches. This one's going to be really, really rough. The blue team on top of that leading, well, they're about 80 points away from taking the lead here. But with this Ark, they're going to secure their win. I see a third altar being won by the red team. While they're fighting there, we're going to go look really quickly at this altar. If there's a chance, this altar is going to be taken away from the red team in return. So there is a give and take in the altar, slowing down the points per minute game. But really, the Ark of Osiris is on the battlefield. Who has it? Someone from the blue team has picked it up. Now the question is there enough madness happening here where this guy can march away, or is he getting chunked already? At this point, I have no clue what the heck is going on, quite honestly, but I'm seeing the blue team, knowing how desperate the center is right now. I see the people that are usually focused at the bottom, Dragothian, Peace Frog, all heading for their representative altar. I see Pit Boss still going ham on his altar. The red team is losing control of the battlefield. It seems like it. Where is the Ark of Osiris? The Ark of Osiris is marching towards the blue side. There are too many blue marches. I'm starting to see some crying blue marches right now. There is still a small chance that the red team can turn this around by just pushing straight forward into this march. The marches in front of the red marches don't slow it down whatsoever, and the counter damage does happen. There are some marches trying to sneak around without success. They're being blocked. So, the only thing the blue teams are doing is they're chunking away at Ayla and Shin's marches. Now, the good news, well, they're not really. There is no time for another Ark. I believe that if the blue team managed to put this Ark away, this is going to be game for the blue team, who have a smaller amount of tier 5s, but they definitely came in much more coordinated and prepared, and they stayed focused with his game. Has Zul tapped out? I have no idea. I haven't been following every player, knowing what every player's role is. I'm just following the action as it happens. And as you can see, our focus is on the Ark of Osiris for a little bit. Ayla finally managing to get a little bit of damage on that march. Can Ayla even get a little bit more? Just that little bit that is left. Oh, and it seems like Ayla might be able to make the Ark stop. The Ark actually turned around for some reason, and Ayla falls. The blue team, with a huge set of troops in front of them, are marching towards the outpost and pretty much probably sealing this Ark in their favor. Now, on top of that, massive pressure happening around the Sky Altar. Massive pressure happening around the Desert Altar, which is most likely going to fall for, he's going to hold, I hope. D-Boys is pulling his troops out at the most important time. This is a huge mistake. Why not pull them when these guys are much closer? At this point, your troops are standing here, not doing any damage to these guys. And just you left your outpost really open for attack. Now, the red team is trying to fight back. This Desert Altar is being contested by the red team, and it seems like the damage being done on the Desert Altar is much bigger than the damage being done on the rally. So hopefully they'll be able to turn that Desert Altar around. Now, the boys coming in with his troops again, making sure that as much damage as possible is done to this rally and repel it away. The Sky Altar will most likely fall. Dragothian with his pressure, taking out Spider, taking out Camel, taking out Premise, too little too late coming in from Premise, AZN, and Mac the Ripper, as once the Sky Altar falls and all these marches walk into it, it's going to be so hard to retake it. It's going to be so hard to retake it. Mac the Reaper barely too late, and now Sky Altar falls for the blue team. Desert Altar being contested by the red team. There is a march coming from the back here. Tom Kent kind of pushed forward to try to, you know, stop anything coming this way. The Desert Altar being contested by Tom Kent will most likely be successful. But the problem is, at this point, the red team really needs as many points as possible, period. It is worth noticing that High are not using Discord, from my understanding. From my understanding, High are not using Discord at all. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I don't see High in a Discord call, which is a shame, because honestly, that's how the blue team is so well coordinated. Voice chat on Discord should be your #1 priority. High are going to learn this the hard way today, because it's not that they fought bad, and it's not that they weren't 300 million power over the blue team. It's a matter of communication. It's a matter of synchronizing. And it's a matter of, well, we have Zul Dark for some reason and Nox, and we have 1 tier 5, 2 tier 5s, 3 tier 5s still back in their home base. So this is not looking good. I think that High have a lot to talk about. And they will most likely rewatch the VOD and hopefully learn from the mistakes. One of the things that I'd tell them is, you guys are not rallying nearly enough. The second thing is, I don't care who is to which team. Tier 5's big players have to teleport out, period. It has to happen. Even if they're on Team Ark, they still need to be ahead, period. And number 3 is Discord. You have to have all your members in Discord, and you got to be communicating live, coordinating things live. Having taken this Desert Altar is a good thing for the red team, but even this Sky Altar being contested by Sondi, and the rally is taking more damage than the Sky Altar itself, and the marches around are fighting on the battlefield. So it looks like this attack will fail. With that, the blue team has a huge lead in terms of points per minute. We have 2 buildings waiting for each team, and then we have a situation where, other than the Shrines of War, that'll be the only difference between the 2 teams. The Shrine of War, which is 80 points, the blue team picked up the Ark of Osiris, and that gave them all the lead they needed. That gave them, I think it was 7,500 points, which was just absurd. There is probably no time for another Ark, if I'm not mistaken. There could be a chance. Well, I misspoke. There actually is a chance for another Ark. I haven't seen 4 Arks yet. The big problem, though, is that the second Ark that the red team will pick up is not going to be worth 7,500 points. I think that it's based on how many Arks you catch. So if I'm not mistaken, the first one you get is 3,000. The second is 35. The third is 7,500. I haven't seen a fourth one being picked up and how many points it gives. And I'm pretty sure the points are based on how many you picked up. Although, come to think of it, they got 7,000 and they only had 2. So this one might be worth more than 7,500. And therefore, if the red team can hold this area, can focus on making sure they defend their buildings and hold this area. If Zuldark can get his troops in here and not lose them in a field combat like he has them right here, right now, if he can keep up this pressure, as you can see, lots of tier 5s coming in. They need to hold the front while someone has to pick up the Ark as soon as possible. You guys have an isolated march here that you guys can target on Jessie. She's one of the leaders. She's one of the leaders of this alliance right here of Phoenix Rising. Shout out to Jessie. She seems to be very smart. She knows what she's doing. PHR has the strategy of distraction. That's the name of the game. You got to make sure that if you are communicating on Discord, that you go all over the place and the communication happens at all time. That's the advantage of having voice over chat and over markers and things like that. Now at this point, Hai has to hold on to every building they have. They have to hold on, and they have to, oh, well, that's unfortunate. They have to hold on to all the buildings they have, and they have to make sure that they get that Ark of Osiris. Here's the thing though. If there's enough points in that Ark, they might actually win this by just putting the Ark back at the right last moment. It's the first time the game has crashed for me in Memu Player in mid-cast or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Hold on 1 second. This way. I mean, Hai has much more power. But the communication is key. The communication is a must. And these guys are probably talking to each other to wear down all these marches while the big guys are slowly starting to come in. You can see 4 marches coming from Little Mary, tons of marches coming from here. A bunch of blue and red buildings blinking, being contested. Dragothian trying to be a nuisance, going for Outpost of Seth, just trying to kind of do some damage on the points per minute for the red team. Fantastic job by him. 6,000 points differential means that this Ark is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to win. I use Memu Player, Memu MEMU Player. It's a great emulator. I recommend it 20 billion times more than I recommend BlueStacks or anyone else. You can see how many marches we're watching fighting on the field and craziness, and it is still a little laggy, but nowhere near what it should be. So lots of red presence in here. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Don't get baited into these fights. 1.5 minutes, all these marches are going to have to pour in to get this Ark back. This Ark is going to mean probably the game, as the blue team is now holding 3 buildings. We're going to keep this open on the side to see which buildings are ticking for what team. At this point, the top obelisk is being contested as well. Let's go check it out very quickly before the Ark shows up. So the obelisk is being contested by Aaron. This is a small rally, but it is being contested. At this point, there's a bunch of players here who could potentially send a couple marches in here just to defend this thing. It is important to keep defending your buildings while attacking too. So this is a big problem for Hai. 7,000-ish point differential, 6,500 points for the blue team. Now the blue team starts pushing forward. The madness going on around this Ark of Osiris is insane. But as long as Nox or Turin pick up this Ark before any blue members, now they have to go around and start fighting. At this point, Nox can start walking forward. Big problem, however, is that their outpost was taken by Dragothian. Dragothian is just going back and forth in between all the outposts and just taking them out one by one. Arsonist, who probably isn't paying attention to this at this point, should be helping with this outpost as soon as possible. Outpost taken back by the red team means there is somewhere to take the Ark back, which is super important, but there's a 3-minute cooldown and the Ark of Osiris has appeared. Nox picking it up. Nobody from the blue team picking up that Ark, but someone sneaking around Nox, already trying to hit him. Guys, someone has to protect Nox, or else Nox is going to pick up the Ark and start getting chewed. And his march is indeed getting chewed. He's already seeing some losses right there. Big fights going on. This is the time where you just have to push. You have to get this Ark back home. All the blue team are now going to hone onto this Ark, and it's a matter of just not letting them do it. While that's happening, blue buildings are blinking, 1 red building, all the map belonging to the blue team. This Ark can give the red team a little bit of an edge, but I am almost certain that this won't be enough. We'll see in a moment as another building here is almost closing for the blue team with another 150 points. They're taking 600 points per minute. They pretty much own most of the points on the map by a substantial amount. We're talking 820 to 40. They're making so many points, it's ridiculous. And the red team is now fighting an ambush of blue marches, just a ton of blue marches. Nobody should be picking up this Ark of Osiris no matter what, unless it's a clear battlefield. It looks like the red team is falling back. Is this a call it quits? Is this just letting them posture forward so they try to pick up the Ark? What's the play here? That's an interesting one to see. I'm seeing the bottom Shrine of Life being contested away from the blue team by the red team. It looks like the red team fell back. It looks like the red team is done. Nah, no way. This is not over until it's over. Shrine of Life taken away from the blue team. Red team trying to slow down their points per minute game. They took away an altar as well. Very, very important to have those altars. A lot of points given by those altars. Looks like a red march picked up the Ark of Osiris. Who is this? This is none other than Zul Dark, marching with his tier 5s, trying to get away from the big marches, the big scramble of marches. The idea of being around this scramble of marches is that nobody can really pinpoint Zul at this stage and send their marches forward. So it's good to be scrambled among other marches. That way it's harder to target you. Now, this push by Zul... Whoa. He went from here to here. What? Wasn't he here? How did he get there? I'm so confused. Okay, so back to what just happened. At this stage, it's really important for the blue team just not to let this Ark move. If this Ark is not moving, it most likely won't make its way back home. Zal took the Ark and got smacked out of it instantly. Ayla now looking to posture to take this Ark back. A lot more red marches than blue marches around this area. If the red team can just hold around this Ark a little bit and let someone keep pushing. Someone picked it up. I'm seeing someone trying to pick it up. Shinjen picked up the Ark. This is the time to bounce, Shin, my friend. There's a march behind you which got destroyed. This is when you bounce. There's so much lag going on. Troops are popping up on the screen like crazy. Shinjen is marching his way back. He broke free from all the blues. He's picking up a nice distance. This is when Shin can actually potentially make it in. If it's over 10,000 points or something like that, we might still see a victory for the red team. It's still 3 minutes. There is plenty. I'm pretty sure he has the time. He does. He has a full minute to spare to make it into the outpost and put this Ark of Osiris to bed. But there are blue marches catching up, and there are blue marches catching up fast. Shinjen with 245,000 tier 5s and getting chunked rapidly. You can see the number right here. We're looking at his numbers just tanking down, taking massive damage, but he is moving the Ark forward, which is the most important thing. The closer the Ark gets, there is still a very small chance the red team can actually put this Ark to bed. If not with Shinjen, who's still holding strong, 107,000 strong and pushing. If not with him, then with other marches. This is the time where they're just going to have to grind the walk back. Shinjen with the last 70,000 troops holding on for dear life. The damage on him has slowed down. 60,000, 57,000 troops. The damage on him has slowed down a little bit. The marches around him have slowly vanished. I see only red marches around him. One more blue march to get rid of, and this Ark walks home free. Jessie, the R4, doing everything she can, but she is down. This is when our friends from high need to be hiding Shinjen, not letting these marches get anywhere near. Shinjen with 48 seconds has Dragothian to contest with. Dragothian taking the outpost out of the red team. If he is successful at this is game. Dragothian with the backstab on the outpost. Unbelievable play. And the Ark has nowhere to go. The Ark has nowhere to go. And the game is over. What a backstab. What an unbelievable backstab by Dragothian. Now, all he has to do is get rid of Shinjen's troops, pick up the Ark, and make its way back to the outpost of Seth. I don't think he can for the next 2 minutes or so. So, what is Shinjen going to do right now? Is there time? There is no time to make it to the next outpost. I don't know if the red team will be able to return this Ark into an outpost that is not secured. Is that a thing? You have to wait for it to be secured, right? I think this is over. I definitely think this is over. 50 seconds, all these marches are now scrambling to try to beat this outpost out. This is why I like Dragothian. He's a smart player. Lost control of the Ark. GG's for Phoenix Rising taking this Ark of Osiris. Very good job. 33 seconds left. I really don't know if you can deliver an Ark to a building that is not secured. I don't think you can. And I also don't think they have the time to kick these people out. Do they have the time to... How crazy would it be if they kick Dragothian out like 5 seconds before this thing is over and deliver the Ark? You can? Oh my God. No, there's no time. There is no time. The Ark of Osiris goes to Rising Phoenix. Bam! Defeat. What? A crazy ending. What a crazy ending. That was awesome. I mean, you can obviously see the difference in healing in here as well. We're seeing more teleports being used. 2 arcs versus the 1. A nice amount. Well, the difference really happened in the occupation and in the arcs. Even an arc towards the red team wouldn't have been enough to stop the blue team from completely dominating the battlefield and taking a lot of buildings consistently. If there is one thing we can learn out of this really good Ark of Osiris, one of the best ones I've casted for sure, I don't even know what to tell you. This is just 3 big final thoughts. Discord voice chat is a must. You have to have some sort of voice chat. You have to be chatting while playing the game. No markers, no delays, no BS, none of that. Voice. Everybody in voice. People playing must be on voice. That's number 1. Number 2, remember, if you are not acting, you are reacting. The game is about making your enemy react to you rather than act for themselves. What PHR, Phoenix Rising, PHR, yes, did fantastically well is they consistently made sure that High was reacting to their aggression, and therefore they had more time to coordinate things, to get their arcs, to heal, to move troops back and forth. When your enemy is going for, hey, they attacked that, we gotta defend that, we gotta defend that too, we gotta defend that too, all you're doing is chill. What's up, Ronnie? GG, thanks for the fun. Were you playing? It was a lot of fun. It was a crazy arc. It was a crazy arc to stream. Legend Ronnie in the chat. It was a really good arc. I really like Dragothian's role in this. I really like how well coordinated the PHR guys are. PHR, yeah, I'm right. PHR are. The Dragothian indeed has the last word. And I said in the beginning of the cast that Dragothian is one not to mess with. Dragothian is a really good, really strong player. And he is goal-oriented. There's Dragothian on the chat. I'm literally just talking about you. I had mentioned previously how you are going to be a very important player in that fight. It was a really good fight. Congrats, Dragothian. It was really nice. I like it. So yeah, Discord voice, act, don't react. Make sure you're always acting. And 3, rally. Keep sending rallies into buildings. Rallies into buildings is super important. Rallies into buildings are things people don't keep up with because there's too many blinking things on the screen. And if your other team is not on Discord, like High, very bad, High. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Don't forget our arc tomorrow. What's your arc, Jason? White Tigers versus JWM. Oh, buddy, I'm excited for that one. That's going to be a great cast. I'm really looking forward for that. I'm hoping your leader, Jason, are you in White Tigers or JWM? Which one are you in? Yeah, this was an awesome fight. A lot to learn from the high side. No bueno at all, but it is what it is. You're in White Dragons. Jason, let your leader know that I messaged them. Oh, he replied to me. What do you know? Oh, no, he didn't. I need to apply. I need to apply for White Tigers. I need to make sure your leader lets me in. Yeah, Misfits Lion. It was a Lion King. It was a great arc. I really liked it. It doesn't matter. Honestly, doesn't matter that we lost. Dragothian was doing insanely well. The Ark was insanely good. I had the privilege of streaming it, and now we have a VOD to go look back at and learn from this really crazy Ark of Osiris. I think there's a lot to learn from the strategy of the blue team. There's a lot of PHR. There's a lot to learn from High, what they did good, what they did bad, what are things that need to be done. And this is why we cast Ark of Osiris as much as possible. So there is footage to go back and look at mistakes, at good things, at bad things. Where can we improve? I'm sure that even PHR, who played fantastically well, have a few corrections that they want to make for their next Ark of Osiris, and so will High for sure. Watching Drago is watching a master at work. Yes, Drago's ability to move around the map stems from the fact that he knows his role and he's continuously communicating with his team. So his role was simple. I lead rallies against one of the altars, the desert altar at the bottom. I lead rallies into that no matter what. I also move around the map, try to help out a little bit with the Ark, but I move around the map occasionally fishing different fights happening. Towards the end, he realized that everything was focused on the Ark, and he started sneaking around and picking up our alliance posts and got away with it clean. That's how you play the game. He acted rather than reacted to us. His reaction to High's taking the Ark area was to act by attacking the outposts, and now he shifted everyone's brain into we got to get these back, and then everyone went towards the Ark, and no one even thought about the fact that the same march that just took those outposts a couple of minutes ago might still be around. And Dragothian just pulled a fast on High. Just pulled a fast on High. There were a few seconds left on that hold of his with Frog. If they wouldn't have managed to hold, if there were 10 or 15 more seconds, the game would have changed completely. Good for him. I'm happy. I'm pumped. Let me get out of High Alliance. Time to make space back to the boys that have left. Big shout out to High. Big shout out to PHR. Very good job on both sides. Congratulations to the winners from Kingdom 16. PHR holding strong. Taking a loss in Ark of Osiris is not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's also not the first one. That's what happens when you go up against people who are a little better coordinated than you are. You learn the hard way. And I believe High learned a lot from playing against JWM and even more against PHR now. Any final questions, comments, suggestions, anything from you guys? Anything from the guys in the chat before I close this stream and leave the VOD up for anyone who wants to watch it? Can you please give a shout out to Mew in Kingdom 1122? Mew is an alliance. Recording, posting later. There you go. You'll have Dragothian's point of view on the things he did as well. That's going to be a good one to watch too. I'm very excited to be able to watch what Dragothian did and how he did it. Why am I going off? Because it is late and there's an Ark early tomorrow and I still have stuff to do today. But I will be streaming again on Wednesday. I think maybe I'll even stream on Tuesday rather than Wednesday. That way we can hunt some Marauders together on the jumper for the Crusader event. GG's to Kingdom 16. GG's Dragothian, Ronnie, and whoever is in here from Kingdom 16. Big shout out to you guys for an awesome Ark of Osiris. Thank you for the privilege of allowing me to cast it, even though it's my alliance still. I love casting these Arks of Osiris. We peaked at like 160 people. Still 100 beautiful people in here. Just to guys, so you know, tomorrow, White Tigers versus JWM. I will be streaming from the White Tigers perspective. So you guys really don't want to miss out on that stream. We're going to do just like we did here. It's going to be all about casting and making sure we have the best Ark of Osiris experience as possible. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you who smashed the like button, who watched the stream, who commented in the channel. Nice commentary, broski. I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you guys for being here with me tonight. One more cast coming tomorrow. Another video coming out the next day. We're back on the grind. I don't know what else to say. Thank you all. Thank you again. Thank you a third time. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. You guys have a great rest of your night, great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. Kill it. Keep doing your thing. And I'll see you guys, hopefully, sooner rather than later, in tomorrow's stream. White Tiger versus High. Over 3.5 billion power together in that Ark. How crazy is that? I can tell you there's going to be a lot of tier 5s. A lot of tier 5s from both sides. You don't want to miss out on that. We'll be counting how many people are not tier 5s rather than tier 5s. But anyway, I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Thanks again for everything. Peace.